Hello everyone, you're welcome to my channel. You're welcome to Decenstitch. If you're a new subscriber or returning subscriber, you're welcome. Please kindly like, share, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe and click the notification bell. Thank you. My required measurements are shoulder divided by 2 plus seam allowance is 0.5 inch, armhole depth plus shoulder slant 1 inch plus ease is 0.5. Ease is optional. Armhole length divided by 2 plus seam allowance is 0.5 inch plus side seam allowance 1 inch. Bust divided by 4 plus side seam allowance 1 inch. Bust point length plus seam allowance is 0.5 inch. Under bust length for front plus seam allowance is 0.5 inch. Under bust length for back plus seam allowance is 0.5 inch. Waist is divided by 4 plus that allowance 1 inch plus side seam allowance 1 inch. Waist length plus seam allowance is 0.5 inch. Bust apart or nipple to nipple divided by 2. To start my bodice, I'm going to pattern the front bodice first. I'm going to draw the line for my shoulder, which is also going to be my starting line. This is my center front, and it's going to be on fold. From the line of the shoulder, I'm going to measure down to get my armhole depth, and that is 7 inches. Now I'm going to get my bust point length, which is 10.5, still from the line of the shoulder. From that line again, I'm going to measure my waist length, that is 18 inches. Then I'll connect my dots. This is my waistline. My bust point line. This is the armhole depth line. This is the shoulder line. For the neck width, I'm going to get 3 inches. For the neck depth, I'm going to get 3 inches also. For someone that is big, you can use 3.5 as the neck depth. This pattern is for someone that is size 10. Size 10 is not so big. I'll be using 3 inches as my depth. For someone like size 14, 16, 18, I can use 3.5. I'm going to use this French curve to draw my neckline. I'll stop here. I won't continue because I don't want it to curve up because of the shape of this French curve. I'll use a ruler to complete that part so it can be flat at the center. The next thing I'm going to do is to measure my shoulder, which is 7.25. I'll measure the same on the armhole depth line, 7.25. And connect my dots. After that, I'm going to slant my shoulder by 1 inch. I'll connect it to my neck width Now I'm going to draw my armhole. From the slanted shoulder to my armhole depth line, I have 6. I'm going to get the midpoint, which is 3. At the midpoint, I'm going to measure inwards, measuring 0.75 inches. Then I'm going to draw my curve. I'll place this French curve in such a way that when I draw, I'm going to start from the shoulder line into the 0.5 dots, then into my armhole depth line. When it touches the line, you can stop. I'm going to get my bust measurement, which is 9.125. My waist is 8.625 inches. I'm going to draw my line. Then I'll draw this straight up. Now I'm going to draw my waist dart. I'm going to use my bust apart, that's nipple to nipple, which is 3.5. I'll mark it on the waistline and also mark it on the bust point line, 3.5. I'll connect my dots. When I'm drawing my line, my dart starts 1 inch below my bust point line for the front piece. The size of my waist dart is 1 inch. I'll put half on this side, half on this side, 0.5 here, 0.5 here. Please, you can draw your darts the way you want yours. But for me, I teach using 1 inch. You can make it bigger. Then the back darts, I will advise you stick to 1 inch for the back darts if you are a beginner. The size of my side dart is 2.5 inches. I got 2.5 inches by using the underbust length for the front, 14 inches minus the underbust length for the back, which is 11.5. 14 minus 11.5, that's 2.5. That 2.5, I'm going to divide it into 2. From the bust point line, I'll measure 1.25 on the upper side and 1.5 on the lower side. Your dart doesn't have to be exactly on the bust point line. You can bring it down. You can move your darts anywhere. My side dart stops 1.5 inches before my bust point or apex. So 1.5 inches before my apex. For someone that is big, you can still use 1.5 or 2 inches according to your preference. Now I'm going to draw the dart. The next thing I need to do, I'm going to pick my bust point line this way, as if I want to sew the dart. Then I'll flip it down this way. I won't bend it this. I'll hold that place where the dart stops and bend it, flip it over. As you can see, this line and this line, they are not meeting. That means when I sew my dart, my side line is not going to meet. It's going to look funny like this. It won't be straight again. So I'm going to use a ruler to try to draw it straight. So when I sew, it's going to look like this, straight like this. So to draw the remaining parts, I'm going to use my tracing wheel to trace that folded part. Open it. As you can see, it has been traced, so I'm going to connect the line I traced. So this is what I'm going to cut for the side, not the previous line. I'm going to cut the new line. I'm done with my front piece. Now I'm going to cut it out. Make sure you always cut on the line so as not to reduce or increase your measurements. Also, have a paper scissors separate from fabric scissors. Don't use the same scissors you use for fabric for paper. With time, that scissors is going to become dull. So have a separate scissors or an old dull scissors. Use it for your paper. Also, I'm using a marker so that you can see it. Please don't use marker to pattern yours. Use a pencil to pattern yours so that you can easily erase it. When I'm patterning, I don't use marker, I use pencil, but I'm using this marker so that you can see what I'm doing. Make sure your lines are all smooth. When you are cutting, make sure you cut it smooth and neat. My front piece is ready. Now I'm going to move to the back piece. For the back pattern, I'm going to repeat almost the same thing I did for the front. I'm going to get my shoulder line again. Then from the shoulder line, I'm going to mark my armhole depth 7 inches and also mark my bust point line, which is 10.5 inches. Finally, I'll measure my waistline, which is 18. My waist length is 18. I'll connect my dots. This is my waistline, bust point line, armhole depth line, and the shoulder line. The next thing is to get my neck width. The neck width for back is always the same for front, so 3 inches. The neck depth is different, so I'm using 1 inch. I'll use my French curve to draw this. I'm going to get my shoulder 7.25. I'll get the same on my armhole depth line 7.25 and connect the 2 dots. I'm going to slant my shoulder by 1 inch and connect it to my neck width. I'm going to get the midpoint of my slanted shoulder and my armhole depth line. This is 6, the midpoint is 3. From the midpoint, I'm going to measure 0.5 inwards. For the front, I use 0.75, but for the back, I'm going to use 0.5. Then I'll draw my armhole. After that, I'm going to get my bust measurement, which is 9.125. Then my waist is 8.625. I'll then connect my dots. The next thing is to draw my waist dart. I'm going to measure 3.5 using my bust apart or nipple to nipple. I'll measure the same 3.5 here on the bust point line. Then I'll draw my line. The dart line for the back is going to be 1 inch above my bust point line. For the front it was 1 inch below. For the back is 1 inch above, because there is no breast at the back. I want it flat. My waist dart is 1 inch. I'm going to mark 0.5 on both sides and draw the dart. By the side, I'm going to measure the same thing I measured for the front for the side dart. I'm going to get that same point from the bust line. I'm going to measure 1.25 up there and 1.25 down there, same as I did for the front. Please note this side dart is optional. You can leave it out both for the front and for what I'm doing for the back now. From the center side, I'm going to measure the same. Instead of drawing a dart for the back, I won't draw a dart. I'll draw dotted lines. If you're not using a side dart for your front, please leave this. It's optional. You can use your bodice like that. But if you're putting a side dart at the front, then you have to do this for the back. Now I'm going to fold from this dotted line to the upper dotted line. It means I'm taking away where the breast occupies. Instead of having the back as long as the front, I'm making the back shorter. It also helps with your zip bulging out. When you do this, your zip will not bulge out because you are using your exact length for the back. I want to confirm my back length is correct. I'm going to tape it down. I'm going to connect my side line. Now they are no more aligned. I need to make it straight. Also my dart, I'm going to adjust it. This is now going to be my bust point where my dart will start from. So now I will adjust the dart. I'm adjusting it because I folded this place.
So if you're not using a side dart and you're not folding that, then leave your dart the way it was before. This is my center back. I'm going to have my zip allowance 2 inches here, or 1 inch if you're using invisible zip. This is now my new bust line. This is my waistline. Now I'm ready to cut it out. Even though I wrote the waistline outside there, I'm writing it inside because when I cut it out, I won't have that one that is outside. And it's good to always label your paper, especially as a beginner. Please always cut on the line. Cut on your line. Don't increase or reduce the measurement of your pattern. My back piece is ready.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please kindly like, share, comment, subscribe if you're new here, and click the notification bell. Thank you.